Okay, so this is my presentation, and this is what I will be talking about. First, I will explain different things you need to set up your own local network, what the different equipment do, and a quick summary at the end. So this is a quick example of what a building would need to set up its own local network. First, you can see the two gray boxes. The top box, which is also the main building. This is where all the servers and necessary things will be running for the second building to work. As you can see, there's a few different things within the first box. First off, we got the router. A router is needed for any building or local network to connect with the rest of the internet. We also call this the gateway of your internet. We also got a modem right under the router. A modem is used to allow us to connect to the rest of the internet, so it kind of works like a router, but a bit different. Even though it's shown as two different parts on the image, it's more common these days to get a router and a modem in one piece. Under all that, we also have a firewall. This is used to make your LAN more secure. And of course, we got our server. This is where we're going to run the DNS and the Windows server and more stuff. That's what I'm going to explain to you. So, I will actually explain that a bit later. First, I will talk about the second building. So here we got all the computers that are going to run on the network, as well as a few phones and some other stuff, but mainly that. So as you can see, we use what we call a switch to connect the two buildings together, and we then have that running into a different switch that all the computers will be connecting to, as well as the wireless access point. So we'll explain how a switch works now in a second. So, a switch. Basically what a switch does is that it allows you to communicate within a network. So all the computers can send packages between each other without any problems. And to do that, it uses what we call a MAC address, which is similar to an IP address, just that it's static and it's unique for every computer. So the switch will memorize all the MAC addresses and use that to communicate between the computers. So a router is, like I explained earlier, is used to connect to different networks outside of your own local network. And without that, you're basically stuck within your own network. And then we got Windows Server, which is going to be running in the main building. And we use this as a tool to be able to control all the users that are connected to your network. So with this, we can create different groups and also different policies that all the users need to follow to be able to use your, or to be able to connect to your LAN. Then we also have a DNS server, which is used so you can visit different web pages on the internet. Basically what it does is that it takes a URL code or a URL, like for example facebook.com, and it converts the URL into an IP address that your computer can understand, because they don't understand plain language that we use. And then we also got a wireless access point. We got that so you can connect with your computer or like a laptop or a phone or anything that does not support cable. So you can connect, yeah, it's mostly used for your phone. So a quick summary. So DNS, we use that to be able to look up different web pages without having to memorize all the IP addresses. And we use Windows Server because it makes it easier for us to control everyone that is connected to the internet or to your local network. Um, the switches are used to connect the buildings together, as well as allowing all the computers to communicate with each other. And we then use wireless access point to allow people to connect their phones or laptops to the internet as well without using any cables. These are the sources that I used, and that was it.
Hello, I'm Håkon and I will be talking about network security and VPNs. First off, I'm going to talk about network security. Network security is an activity designed to protect the usability and integrity of a network and data. It includes both hardware and software technologies. Network security is built by multiple levels of protection at the edge of the network. All of the security levels implements controls and policies so that authorized users gain access while blocking out malicious users and softwares. In recent years, humans have become more and more reliant on network, and through network, we have become reliant on network security. This means that it is important to protect every bit of data about you. Many things that a good password on your network is all you need. However, if you ask someone with experience and knowledge, they will say that there's a lot more than the ones with little to no experience. They will say that you should invest in some of these types of softwares. Antivirus, a stronger firewall, and a VPN service. That is well. And it's important to then choose a VPN service that is well regarded, like NordVPN. Um, you should be also be careful with what you do on the web because those things are important also to delete, and things that may be infringing will not make it harder to get a job in the future. However, it exists a middle ground. Some of the things you can do is have different passwords for different accounts so that it's harder to guess your passwords. And well, I should also have one guest network where you connect all the devices you do not trust 100%, and one private network where the devices that you trust and your own devices are. This makes it harder for the guests or the untrusted devices to get access to your data. Um, Now I'm going to talk about VPNs. A VPN or virtual private network is a secure tunnel between two or more devices. VPNs are used to protect private web traffic from snooping, interferences, and censorship. You can also use VPNs to access websites that are banned in certain countries. You will also be able no, it will also be harder to track because of a VPN is virtual and is not actually the same VPN, no, the same IP address as you. A VPN is also an extension of private network. It enables users to send and receive data over private network through an extension of the network. VPNs cannot make you anonymous. All they really can do is increase your privacy and security.
My name is Luan. In my presentation, I'm going to talk about four subjects: what an IP address is, why we have used static IP address, and what it means, what DHCP is, what it means, and in the end, what does an IP address consist of. An IP address is the address of a computer, router, or other device on the network. To communicate over the internet, each device must have a unique identity so that the IP addresses do not crash with each other. IP addresses are not permanent. An IP address stands for Internet Protocol Address. On the Windows computer, you can find the IP addresses on the device by following the steps below. This receipt only shows local network IP addresses. Uh, type Windows 10 button, type CMD and press enter. In the black box that appears, type ipconfig and enter. In the text that now appears, you will find the local IP address under IPv4 address. An Internet Protocol address is a numerical label assigned to each device connected to a computer network that uses the Internet Protocol for communication. An IP address server to main functions, for example, host or network interface identification and local addressing. Going short to explain about different classes we have. IP addresses is consisting of different classes. That means which class you use in the IP. For example, you have different classes as A, B, C, D, and other classes. The classes represent different steps. For example, one of the steps represent that how many devices can be connected to an IP address. What static IP, what static IP addresses are and why we use static IP address. When I talk about IP addresses, I normally think of static and dynamic IP addresses. Dynamic IP addresses is the most commonly used on. I'm going to explain it to you how static IP addresses work. Static IP addresses are super important. These IP addresses are used mostly to host server or other things that are frequently used within a network. Static IP addresses are addresses that doesn't change compared to dynamic addresses. Since static IP addresses doesn't change, it makes it possible to send directly message to the server without any problems. If the server were to change its address like a dynamic address, it would be near impossible to send information to the server without any kind of problems. As you will need to find as you need to find the address of the server every time you wanted to ask it something. Dynamic IP address will change address automatically after a time. What is DHCP and what DHCP means? DHCP Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol is a protocol used to provide quick, automatic, and certain management for a distribution of IP addresses within a network. A DHCP server is a device configured to automatically assign IP addresses to connected devices. Uh, the home Wi-Fi router has include the DHCP server. While its server must same functions as a DHCP server, it also sends information between connected devices. In short, we might say that we have two different type of IP addresses, dynamic and static. They are used to identify and specify device in a IT infrastructure. The ACP protocol is used to establish IP addresses and control the device addresses given. I have also talked about in my video presentation what IP addresses is consist of. This is the sources I use to find information. Thank you for your attention.